Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be talking about the 1991 horror classic, The People Under the Stairs, directed by Wes Craven. For those of you guys just joining us for the first time, the B Movie Club is like a book club where we'll discuss whatever movie we feel like discussing. I'll post it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and you can send me your questions and comments. Typically, we pick movies that are not particularly recent, so probably as close as we get would maybe be like the late 90s. And we might go as far back as the early 70s. Basically, they're not movies that are on the typical consciousness right now. Maybe some forgotten classics, maybe low budget movies. Typically not straight to video because that's a little too low budget and a little too off the beaten path. But definitely not things that would currently be considered blockbusters, you know? So, send in your suggestions for movies and I'll add it to my Netflix queue. I typically try to pick movies that are streaming instantly on Netflix. That way people who have Netflix would be able to more easily watch the movies if they don't already own them. This week, People Under the Stairs. Okay, you've got our central characters, a young boy affectionately called Fool, in the inner city, and his family's about to be evicted. His mom's dying of some cancer that is easily cured, but they don't have any money for surgery. So he is basically convinced to break into a house to try to steal money in order to, pay for their rent and for the surgery. He's convinced by an older guy named Leroy, who's kind of a friend of his sister's. So Leroy, Fool, and another man attempt to gain entry into this house. Now this house is that old mansion that seems to be in every neighborhood that's spooky, that kids don't want to go walk by or whatever. The people who live there are this wealthy and crazy couple who are also slumlords. They own the tenement where Fool lives with his family. They also own liquor stores and things like that around the neighborhood. We discover that they are up to no good, let's say. Leroy and Fool manage to get into the house, which they notice is kind of peculiar because it has like locks on the outside, meaning keeping people in the house. Over the course of the movie, we discover that they're essentially like child snatchers, they're ultra religious, crazy people who grab kids because they're not husband and wife; they're actually brother and sister. There you go, good times. They kidnap children, and if they don't meet that their kind of crazy ideals of see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, they basically cut out the offending part of the body and throw them in the basement under the stairs. So now there's like this gang of creatures that live underneath the stairs, essentially. So Fool is trapped in the house. He's trying to get out. Leroy, spoiler alert, Leroy bites the dust. Fool eventually befriends the daughter of this couple who has been basically locked in this house for however long, Alice. And Alice helps him escape. Fool comes back to rescue Alice. One thing leads to another. Bad things happen to the bad couple, and the people under the stairs are released on the unsuspecting population. We discover the people under the stairs are not bad guys. They're just people who've been locked under the stairs, They're kind of creepy looking because they've been down there for God knows how long. They have long, crazy hair. They are essentially albinos at this stage of the game because they haven't seen daylight in however long. And they're quasi-cannibals because You know, that's the only food that they throw the poor people under the stairs, or like the people who've attempted to break into the house or who saw too much, like salesmen or, you know, people checking the meter. I guess no one ever asks, you know, what happened to Johnny who went to check the meter of that one house. Very sad. People Under the Stairs was written and conceived by Wes Craven. He said it was based upon some article that he read about a crazy family that kept children locked in the basement, and that kind of inspired him to write this script. He cast the crazy couple based upon two actors that he saw in Twin Peaks who were also playing a crazy couple. So he basically just grabbed them, put them in this movie where they played another crazy couple. So there you have it. Also, one question I always have watching this movie is the one father runs through the house when he's chasing Fool and he was chasing Leroy. And he dresses up in this crazy gimp outfit. Like it's a all leather outfit with straps and like a hood and a mask. And he's like shooting guns at the walls. One of the people under the stairs evidently escaped from the basement and is now like hiding in the walls of this place, and that makes the evil father character angry. So he takes his shotgun out and is constantly trying to shoot this character Roach, which is his nickname. He's trying to shoot Roach. So he's constantly putting holes through his walls, the holes through his ceilings with his shotgun. Later in the movie, when Fool tries to rescue Alice, he actually calls the police, like claiming child abuse. So the police, of course, come to check out the house. And of course, they don't find anything. Oh, everything's hunky-dory. What about all the shotgun holes in the walls? No? Didn't notice that, police? Very good times. So you have the crazy leather-clad guy. Leroy, in one of his first roles, was played by Ving Rhames, which is very shocking. So in a sense, this is Ving Rhames and the Gimp together for the first time a few years before Pulp Fiction came out. So you have that to look forward to. Overall, this movie's kind of ridiculous, as you might imagine. The bad people are not the people under the stairs, like I said. They're just misunderstood. The bad guys are really the evil parents of the people under the stairs. In fact, people under the stairs, when they finally release them, look more like, you know, Guns N' Roses, frankly. The one guy looked like Axl Rose. He had long hair and kind of did his like Axl Rose dance as he was walking by. When Fool and Alice are reunited at the end of the movie and they're kind of happily like, oh, everything's okay. The lead people under the stair guy looks at him and kind of gives him a little wink like, hey, it's all good. So there you have it. If you happen to see a people under the stair person roaming the streets, don't jump to conclusions. Don't judge a book by its cover. They're really just misunderstood. Good times. Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie 56% rotten. Very upsetting. It's good for a laugh. You know, if you're sitting around having a few drinks, go ahead and pop in People Under the Stairs. You won't regret it, I guess. There you have it. Good times. Next week, I will be doing the classic from 1972, Dirty Harry, starring Clint Eastwood. Again, a lot of people say, hey, that's not a B movie. No, but it's, you know, from 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I figure, let's talk about Dirty Harry. Let's discuss it. Please send in your questions and comments. You can tweet me at KD9575. You can post it on my YouTube page. You can post it on my Facebook page. What I'm thinking of doing in the future is if you've seen any of these movies and you have a digital camera, you can record your own response, post it on Facebook, and I'll put it on the show as well as kind of a point-counterpoint kind of deal. So send that in. Also send in your favorite quotes, favorite scenes, questions, comments, and of course your movie suggestions, and we'll do it on the show. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. This week, your father's one crazy mother. In fact, your mother's one crazy mother too. So there you have it. Good times. Thank you for joining us. Next week we'll be doing Dirty Harry. Be well.